Hello, everybody. I think we're live.
I
They
don't
said,
see anything on the screen that says,
no, that's because they have us jumping through hoops. And so, but we do it and we get it done. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Lydia, for sharing your talents with us once again. Everybody who's here, if you are going to be penciling along with her, please let us know in the comments. Otherwise, you can let us know you're not. Either way, let us know where you're from, where you're watching from, and also know that any of Lydia's little critter squares or other things that she's done on Watch, Learn, and Create the pattern packets can all be found on her website www.lydiasteeves.com, and you can go there and find the mirage of critter squares under critter square, or the other things depending if they were acrylics or pencil or pastel. And she has a lot of free things on there too to help you with your artful journey. So how are you doing tonight, Lydia?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Hope everybody else is doing okay too. I'm glad you
Absolutely.
guys came because it seems like we've been dragging our butts a little bit here. So I thought, what the heck, let's do a little square.
Yeah, I think it's been a slow start, right?
Yeah, it seems I don't know what's the matter with this January, but holy smokes.
It's been very cold in parts of the country that aren't used to cold.
Yes, I don't really have that complaint because it's not been a bad winter so far. So yeah, oh well, anyhow.
They're getting it in the middle
I
southern.
know, I know there's many people that are digging out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we feel for
Yeah.
you, but we're glad you got it, not us. No.
Oh well, sucks to be you.
But
Oh, here,
all the more reason to stay inside and do art.
my big coat, my winter coat is too warm right now. So I had to drive
Ooh,
home from yoga with the window down.
I put my window down today too, driving. I was hot.
Terrible nonsense. Just
It is when it's that non-existent climate thing.
yeah, right. Oh well.
That
Yeah.
myth, but
So
there's a
yeah, so we're gonna do him tonight. And just to sort of chit chat and for a little bit to let everybody find us. That's going to be the next one. Be Mine Valentine.
it's so cute.
Going to be cute, yes.
I
He's
can't
he's found a
stand it.
little Valentine. The
Yeah.
pattern's not quite up yet for that one, but there's lots of time. And
Mhm.
then we've even got an Easter one all in the lineup too. So you can either, be creative and put it on an angle like this, or you could, put it straight or whatever you want to do. But we're going to have a lot of fun with those jelly beans. There's lots of jelly beans there.
He's having a ball.
He's going to have a bad blood test when he gets to the doctor.
For sure.
Yes,
Diabetic for sure.
the diabetic. Yes, you're going to have to go
So we
blood
have
test to make sure.
several people here already. So thank you all for joining us, and Sandy, Janet, Lois, Kay, Norma, Bonnie. I feel like Mrs. Lisa in Romper Room.
Yes, yes. Well, that's
And
great. I'm
Billy.
glad you guys are here for sure.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching the replay, thank you also for taking time out of your day to watch this replay. And I will have it pinned to the top of the group. I will no longer be putting it into the guides, but it
Yeah,
will be
never
pinned to
worked.
the group, and I will take the code and I will also enter it under the event. So you can go to the past events and you can find it down there. But I also eventually will put it in the library, the AW library, if you don't know anything about that. I can find you on my tablet, but not my laptop. Yeah, no suggestions, Regina.
Well, that's sort of the whole reason why you're putting them in the video library, though, isn't it? Is because they aren't showing up on laptops, right?
They're not showing up that if you go to guides, they don't show up on laptop or desktop. They only show up on the
Yeah,
iPad tablets and a phone. Who
which
wants
is
to
too
watch you on
small.
a phone? I know.
Oh, who can do that? No,
Yeah.
very frustrating, but they keep changing everything all the time. And we can't do anything about that. And we just have to roll with it, I guess. Yeah,
That's
one
right.
more thing to roll with.
For sure, for sure. So glad you're all here though, and that's a start. So I'm going to say it's been a good 5 minutes. So
We
let
can
us
we can
let
start
us spotlight you and spotlight you for everyone, and you can get going.
and we can get going. All right. So the fun thing about squirrels is they have these googly eyes. So you need to put in the sparkles with that shape, that sort of like fat at the top, and then like a triangle or a comma down this way. And same with that. So let's go ahead and do that. And I usually make them a little bit too big, and then I can always trim them. And if they disappear on you, with one step and another, things happen. You can always get them back with a jelly roll pen or something. I'm going to come in tighter for the people that are on the phone so that that's just like that. How's that? It's much better. Okay. So that was with white. And like I said, I always make them a little bit bigger. And then we'll color in the eyes. And again, really be careful with the shape because we do want googly eyes. Bulgy eyes, I guess, is where we're going with that. Okay, so you see then I'm trimming it. Maybe I'm going to want that a little bit larger later. There's lots of steps we can take. All right, so we got that one in and we've left this one. And I'm pressing pretty hard because there's not a lot to a squirrel eye. And of course I need that one a bit bigger. Going. It was kind of wild already. So I do have a very funny story though. So a few weeks ago, I was throwing out the peanuts and a little black one was standing there and I threw them out and his little friend scared him and he jumped in the house through my legs and he was running all over my house. And he wasn't too bad. I mean, he was pretty calm and he found his way out with no problems. And then yesterday, because I sometimes feed them beside where I have a drink of coffee and I open up my window and it came like that. And I was feeding the gray one who was way over here. And a little red one came scooting up the side of the window and came right into the house again. So, so I'm fired. I'm not allowed to feed squirrels anymore because the red one was really crazy, like really crazy. This is clay rose. We're just coloring in the ears. And Blossom got all excited and was chasing them all over the place. And he was banging into the windows because he was trying to get out. And he was banging into the patio doors because he was trying to get out. And he did get out and nobody got hurt. And I don't think he had a concussion because he showed up again today. My husband's kind of maybe just a tad miffed.
I think they're getting a little too familiar with you.
So we're pulling back. So I'm going to put some clay rose. Clay rose is a good color because it's pink, but it's not too crazy pink. So I'm just putting a little blush of clay rose on the nose and maybe a little bit underneath here. And yeah, the red one was really nuts. He was, mind you, they always just stay close to the window because I guess they think they know that that's sort of out, but they just have to figure it out. They put a little blush of pink in there. Nothing too crazy. All right. And in general, these guys, in my place anyways, they tend to be sort of brownish cream on the face and kind of down the back. And then they're more of a grayish here. Whatever turns out of course, is going to be good as long as he's cute. So we're going to take eggshell and we will get those over the eye markings and the under eye markings. So the only color that hasn't actually come in the house yet is these gray ones. So anyhow. It was a little nuts. All right, so I've colored the over the eye and the under eye. And then what we're going to do is color the face with the eggshell. We're going to color on the nose, like right over the pink. There, just those ones. And just don't do too good a job. Don't press too hard just yet. Just try to get things mapped out. There's going to be a little cheek there, and we're going to put some in this chin here. And we can put a little bit underneath this chin. This actually is not the edge of this chin. This is actually dark, like different color fur. Okay, and then so that's close together. Those strokes are very, very close together. And then as we pull away from that, you can make a little bit more space between your strokes. Okay, and it's more just about your fur direction. Okay, and I know depending on what color you are on, what color paper you are on, you'll see this or you won't see very much of it. Try to resist covering it completely until you can see it really well, because you actually can never see it too well. And it won't really show up until we get the next color in. So I'm just sort of coloring in his head. And I'm just going to color in the ears too, especially that edge. And then, like I say, down the back is going to be a little bit on the cream side too, creamy and brown. So, and it could be a little bit longer, the strokes will be longer as we go down the back. And, well, I guess we can put some more in this little area here too. But, it's not really a hard and fast rule as to where the cream stops and the more gray starts. Now he will have tufts on his ears up there, and we need a sharp pencil for that. And so we'll just, again, they might not show very well, but just put a few up there. Maybe we'll put some brown in there to make them show up a little bit better. All right, so we've got the cream in. And let's just get his nostrils in too. So this will be warm gray 90. And just be careful with that. And again, sharp pencil so that you've got good control. And there's a little line that goes down to his mouth. Okay, just little teeny weeny strokes there. Right. And then light umber. So the light umber is going to be hopefully to help you see where the shapes are going to you know, where they are. So we're going to shade and color. It is the color of his fur, right in from the nostril towards this line, and maybe try to fade it. And then behind that line, you're going to just color just lightly. And as you work your way towards the next line, fade it off. And then you've got one more line here. So a little bit more, like just to the right of that line, and then fade it all to the right. We'll do the same thing this way. Right into the nostril, close to that line we just made. All this is going to be a little bit light umber. And then you'll pick up just to the left of your transfer line. And it is furry, so I am sort of trying to do a furry stroke, but it's velvet. So at the same time, I'm keeping them pretty tight together. There we go. And then I'll just fade it to the right. And then this, remember I was saying that this is actually dark fur. This is the edge of the chin. I mean, they're very furry. So I'm just making little lines. Well, he looks like a squirrel already, don't you find? Okay. And all the other places that we're going to be doing this light brown is pretty much just so that we can see the eggshell. So here's another shape. And here's another shape. And I'm going to put some at the very left of this ear. Maybe come down. And the right of this edge. Keep it really small here. You need just a little bit of squirrel for the edge of the head, but not too much. Corners of the eyes, coming towards the nose. And, we'll just put a little bit down his back just because if you're ever on the edge and you want to bring some line, because they have lots of lines, very fine lines coming out. They're not very slick in the wintertime, very fuzzy. Just make sure that you do a very fine line, and we'll just pop in some. There we go. All right, so I don't think we're losing anything just yet. That's good. I had a little bit of, when I was first doing it, I had a little bit of, trouble, whatever you want to call it, just in here because there's so many different shapes. It's easy to lose them. And I think that might be it for this color. Well, what the heck? Let's color it in the ears too. Although they'll end up to be girlish. All right, I'm just trying to think if I put any in here. Let's put some. Just a bit. Just to sort of map out that direction. All right. White. We're going to go back to our white and we're going to find his very handsome chest. And you can press pretty hard. There isn't going to be too much, not too many layers on this chest. Be a bit of a shadow coming soon, but that will easily go over. All right. But it's a very handsome chest. And it's going to come down right down to the little hands. And then he's got this part here. I guess it's his arms. And you can have some nice long lines coming this. See how it's very nice, nicely shaped right in here. And then we'll do some here. Won't be exactly the same, but it's the same idea. Okay, so we've got this little piece is right here is the same as that on that side. I'm going to sharpen up my pencil again. And you'll see that there's this very white section underneath here. And we're going to color right to the bottom of the paper too. And it's just, it is white fur. And then it fades off by the time it gets into his little elbow here. And this is all belly. Depends on how much, like depends on where you put your little. So pop some white in there. And then we're going to make lines of white on his little feet, his little hands. And you can press pretty hard on this too. Just like really make them show. And let's see, I'm going to pull this out even further. Oh, got that. Now this little paw got some serious directional changes. We're going to come this way, and then these are going to go down, down, and then we're going to curve around, and that's his little elbow there. And we've got another little fat pad or something that's going on there. And you can make sure that you are rotating your pencil because we don't really want to sharpen all the time because it's just going to eat your pencil up. So keep your pencil rotating. And they can be thick lines. Okay, so right about where this little, there's a little boop boop here. That's about the area where you change direction. Okay, rotate, rotate. I mean, you can sharpen, but it's not really a super fine application. We want to make sure that we know this edges. We'll just put a couple extra lines in there. And then here, we get a bit longer. So you got a lot of things happening in this section. So just keep an eye on what you've done and how you can make it all look like it belongs. You don't want to have any awkward joinings. And I'll put some white up here too, over top of the cream. And this will end up to be darker, but put some in as well. And then we'll finish up and work towards the back for the ear there. All right, I am going to sharpen now. I would like to have his cheeks up here with a bit of white, and this cheek here with a bit of white. Maybe some on this chin. All right, I think that's probably good enough for now. We're going to take our warm gray 90 next. And we're going to put in our darks now. So we'll start up here. I know this is actually really a dark marking. So I'm going to put in, I'm not pressing hard, but I am definitely making it darker just by putting many layers. And let's put the other side in too. He wasn't exactly symmetrical because he's got a slightly 3/4 turn there, but I think he looks maybe a bit better if you try to do a little bit of symmetry. And he has a dark marking here. So those strokes are pretty close together. And we've already done under the lip there. So then as we come up, you are definitely going to leave space now between your strokes. And the trick, of course, is to make them sort of natural, I guess. So yes, we're following the fur direction. And we're coming up. But every so once in a while, cross one to the left or to the right so that you don't see a row of a whole bunch of lines all straightened around. When you get close to this eye, the marking, you can put a few lines closer together. Again, I'm not really pressing hard. In fact, I'm pressing very lightly. Keep working your way all the way up. Try not to make it a bunch of fence posts. Now, when you get to the top, check your pencil. Is it sharp enough? And you want to make a nice little hairdo of individual lines. Crisscross them a bit. And then work it down. So again, you have darkish up here, but it comes into the rest of his head. And I still have some background showing. That's okay. Don't worry about that. By the time we're done, it'll all be covered up. And we're going to put a little bit of shade at the bottom of the ear here and the bottom of the ear here. We are going to have some light ones coming in front, so try not to make it too solid. Okay, and just kind of maybe put a little bit of dark at the base of the ear here and here. Just to really set those in behind the eye. we'll continue on. All right, so I want to have a little bit of dark right there too. Make sure you bump back into that light cheek because we want every single edge here fuzzy. All right, now, again, think about your edge. Make it fuzzy. Long, those long guard hairs keeping him warm. The good thing about the warm 90s, it doesn't dull as fast as the white. So I hope you're still rotating your pencil just to make sure. Otherwise, you need to sharpen. And think about your direction again. We want nice little cute chubby feet. And now all underneath here, we want to have these white lines coming over. So when you put in your dark, think about that. And then you can make it come into the rest that you have here. Because you can't just kind of color it in and then put the white over top because you want a nice, clean, beautiful white fur. So you don't really want a lot of dark underneath it. All right. It's a little bit messy. That's okay for now. And here's another area where be very careful with how you put the dark in. And come around. And remember, we had this little white edge. You can bump into it, but try to leave it so that it stays there. Try to curve it around nicely. And we'll put some under here. Same sort of a thing. It's not quite the same as this as far as how beautiful and white it is, but it is a shaggy edge, and you have to keep that in mind when you put your darks in. Okay, so I have a line here by the end. It's not, you see how this is very, very clear here, but up here, not so clear. So don't struggle to keep it separated. It's not one of those lines that you need to have. A little bit, and then just to kind of show some direction. Okay, there's your edge again. Nice, teeny weeny thin lines. Always add more later. Don't feel like you got to get them all in right now. So these are more horizontal, but give them a little bit of a gravity curve at the end as well. Let's see. Now, this is a little ruffle. And this is another ruffle. And it's quite nice, actually, because you can see how it goes to the back and then it kind of comes straight and then it's going to turn a little bit and join into all this chest fur here. So it goes to the back and then up here it turns and then it comes this way. And just fade it off. A little bit stripy right now, but when we get the OMS on and do a bit of blending, it's going to look good. All right. So then the next one is right here. And then there's one right here. Now, when you've got all these dark lights, every once in a while you need to pull some color through so that it's not too stripy. Otherwise, we're end up with a whole whack of dark light stripes, and that's not necessarily what we want. So right in here, especially, it's not going to be pure white. We need to darken underneath this. Eye marking. There we go. Just a little tiny bit of shadow on these, and then we'll have a bit of shadow, and then these are going to be more salt and pepper. All right, what are we going to do on this side? Same sort of thing. Some salt and pepper here. That might be just about it. You can put a little bit of more definition on either side of that mouth. I think that's all right. Let's call that the end of photo 1, and we will put our OMS, black hair on. My new foster baby is very bad. She's definitely one of those, you know how they say that you get a singleton and they really need their siblings to get them socialized, give them some manners. Well, this one's a singleton. She needs manners, and my poor Carmen has to teach her those manners. She's not really listening. So Carmen came and sat on all my stuff today so that I could watch her back for a bit. All right, so we are going to get our moon scrubbers. Just make sure they're clean. Just put some of the OMS on a paper towel and I'm just wiping it to make sure I get them. So we'll take the little teeny weeny one and we'll do the eyes. And you can bump it into your sparkle. I like to do that because then it softens it up a little bit. Okay, wipe that off. And maybe you can rub in the ears. And then I'll take the 0 and rub everything. So you can see it softens up the dark especially. And you could maybe use the double zero along there if you think you're going to bump in and make a mess into your background. You don't want to do that. So just, like I say, bump into your lights. Don't try to keep everything completely separate. Part of the reason why we're doing this OMS stuff is to get a softer look. Wipe off every once in a while, just to keep your brush at least a little bit clean. And you'll see that I'm just kind of rubbing in little short back and forth. Not a great big you just want to do it back and forth in the spot and then pick up your brush and then go to the next spot and pick up your brush and go to the next spot. We want some blending, but we don't want to move everything into one, like we don't want to change the color too much. And you just rub with the direction. So I picked a warm gray for this because he is a brownish gray. That the warm gray has a brown tinge to it, as opposed to the cool gray has more of a bluish tinge. There we go. See, he's pretty cute already, isn't he? I hope. Right. So this we're on photo 2. Now, in the packet, and in lots of my packets now, I'm asking for this Pablo Caran d'Ache. And the difference between these two Prismacolor and the Caran d'Ache is this, the white here, the Prismacolor, puts down way more pigment, but it's super soft and crumbly. And this one doesn't put down as much pigment, but at least you can press a little bit harder. So sometimes you need both, actually, I've found. So you can try to get this sparkle back with your Prismacolor. If you can't, then you could, like, you just want to press harder and get that in there, then go to your Pablo. But I'm okay, I'm doing okay. And maybe, you see, because it doesn't crumble, you can get a little bit of a finer look. So just kind of play around with that. So I think that's okay, right? Just want to have a wide to the thin and try to have them towards the outside. See how they are towards the outside. It just makes them googlier, like I said, because they have bulgy eyes. And we're trying to make them look a bit on the bulgy side. And if you, I mean, I think everybody has done that tape method where if you really can't get anything down, you put a piece of tape on and you take off your wax and then you try again. That might be another way that you could get your white back. And if worst comes to worst, at the very end, if you really need a sparkle, then maybe one of these jelly roll pens, or they have the Uniball pens. They're good for a sparkle. They're a little bit maybe not quite as natural looking, but they will give you the sparkle. It's just, they get a bit mucked up sometimes again with the wax, but you can kind of tap and get a bit of a brighter look. These are all things you can do to try to get that sparkle. All right. And so with the Caran d'Ache, just make sure that you've got some crispier lines underneath here, just like a membrane or something like that, just a little bit of detail. You need to darken your eyes. I think mine look pretty good, so I don't think I need to do that. I think you need to darken your nostrils. You could do just a little bit of black. Especially because we're going to put snow on top. So you want to make sure that you can see. Yes, a bit of black right there. There we go. Yeah, like that. All right, so let's put some shadow on the white. Right in here, right underneath that chin. And that's going to be cool gray 50. I don't want a brown gray. I want a sort of a bluish gray. So that's why I went for the cool. And you can pull that down. And then there's this edge. So we're shading the arm. Pull a few lines further. Maybe a little bit down here where the two hands meet. And so we had the warm 90 up in this area, and then it comes along, and then at some point it changes to the cool 50. Okay, so I'm just kind of making some tufts right there. Maybe I'm going to bring this up here too. And then I'm going to color again with white. Right up and into that gray that we put on. Don't avoid it. And you'll be picking up wax and debris. Wipe off your tip now and again. So make this lovely, make it beautiful. And same here too, we want to have some nice lines. Wipe off. There we go, that looks good, I think. And then here, so you see how I created those in the first place with the shadow, and then I'll just pull some longer lines with the white. Just bring that a little bit. I can always shave it later, but it'll be harder to make it bigger if I want it bigger. Like out that side. Right, so I'm going to sharpen again, so that tells it. It's pressing pretty hard there. And what we're going to do is make sure with a nice sharp pencil, we have a nicely shaped chin. Well, what is that? I don't know, muzzle, something. This is his chin. But just make sure you know exactly where that is and that it's nicely shaped. And this part, make some individual lines. Now you could use that Pablo here. If you want a pencil that's not going to dull as fast, and that you could press a little harder. Okay.
Lydia,
Yes.
Norma's asking what pencil sharpener do you use?
Ah, I was a good girl this year, and Santa brought me this AFMAT. And the reason why Santa brought me this one is because when my pencils are short, this one you just kind of put in and it sucks it down and spits it back out. So even a short one, it'll spit it back up and out. Well, that's what I've got. That was just on Amazon.
I got one from Santa too
We got one. There was a lot of good girls
this year.
this year. I did have one of those before that didn't suck that down and spit it back up. And then you're stuck when you got them, they're too short, then how do you sharpen them? I do have other handheld sharpeners, but I'm finding that my students need an electric one. Just a lot easier. So it's everyone who's got one is very happy with it. So that's good. All right, so what are we doing here? We're going to highlight the eye marking. So I'm going to highlight right up here and then come down and fade and go back and fade, right? So go right there where the highlight is and then come down and then go back. We want them to be creamy colored still. But we just want to highlight them right there and there along with the glint in the eyes. And you can put a few lines on these as well. I find that the eggshell doesn't really show up all that well if you go back to eggshell. So you almost need to put some white on and then maybe bring the eggshell back if you put too much white on. But he's cute. So just pop it in there and don't worry too much. And we're going to perk up the edge of the ears here. Eggshell's okay, but it doesn't have much punch. Let's put a couple of lines of white on his tufts too. And they may or may not show. Just put a little bit on. There, okay. And we're going to do a little bit more shadow in the ears. We did some already, but let's just look at it again. Do we need a little bit more? I mean, they're not really pink inside. We just start off with pink because it's a nice base color. They were brownish. So just check your shade there. And if that egg clay rose is a little too pink, just take your eggshell and tone it a little bit. Just doing the circles and I'm just covering the eggshell area. Okay, so we just want like that little tiny bit of pink, yellowish, creamy. And then do we have a clean scrubber? Just smooth it out. And I'm just smoothing this edge too, because we don't want a white complete edge. We just want it lighter at the edge. So I want to be a stripe. And let's put a few light umber lines at the top here. And hopefully now they're looking a little bit fuzzy. You can't really beat those things to death. If you put too many, then he's going to look really strange. So you just put some white on there, some cream, and make sure your pencils are sharp, and hope for the best. All right, now we actually are going to, if you've got the Caran d'Ache, that's a good idea. And we're going to just do this light white lines again all over him. But now it's not going to take that long because, of course, we've got most of it done. It's just paying a little bit of attention up here again. And we'll put a few up on the head, even though we know that's going to be mostly cream. And we'll come out here, make it fuzzy. This is your chance to get in there and make that edge fuzzy. Make it fuzzy here. And what are we going to do here? Let's just find this edge too. All this is with that Pablo one. And the two reasons are that it doesn't really put down very much pigment, and it doesn't wear and crumble the same way. So make sure this is all nice. This is all good. I think I like that. I think I like what I've done there. So I think that's gonna be all right. And then we can think a little bit more here. So don't do exactly the same thing. And maybe you've got enough. Maybe you're okay with what you've got there. Maybe you want to have something with a little bit more swing to it. So right in here, that shape, pretty fun. So we've got them that go to the left, we've got some that come straight down, and then we have some that turn. It's going to be pretty dark on his back, but we'll put, again, like I say, put some in because it's easy to get rid of them if you don't want them. It's harder to put them back if you decide, oh, a little bit more white right there. Should we shade down here maybe? Depends again on how much you've got showing. Take that cool 50 and maybe you need to have a little bit of shadow. You want to keep that white along the edge. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Great. And then if you did get the packet, I did put a picture in without snow, and I gave you a picture with snow. So you can at least see what we're going to do here. I think we're getting pretty close, don't you? We did pretty good here. We're going to take our warm 90. So that is warm 90, and let's sharpen that up. Plus, it depends on how fussy you want to be. You might not want to do this, but I also like espresso. It is even browner. So if you want to keep, to the brown cream thing on the back and the head, you might want to use espresso. If you think, oh my God, that's too fussy for him, just stick with the warm 90. Either one will be pretty good. However, his ears are quite brown. So we see, oops, make sure I use the right one. I did put the espresso like right in here because they are, brown. And I thought this was a good color. And I just added a little bit more shade in there. And it's also a good color for fluff. Even though we made this white right there, you can put fluff on top. So we'll do that on this side too. And I'm barely touching the surface, just stroking some gentle little bit. Kiss it. That's what we're doing. We're just letting the pencil kiss the paper. Oh, a little bit of fuzz on this outer edge too. Okay, just a little tickle, tickle, tickle. You probably don't have to add any more OMS. I'm finding that this is blending quite nicely. Okay, okay. Again, just have to make sure that I keep my pencils figured out. Keep the espresso for the head / back. And we're just putting in enough darker lines to give him his dark look with silver tips. You like your hairdo. So if at this stage you think, oh, I just want to rub it, you can for sure. I definitely like that rubbed look, and you just have to be a little bit careful that you don't over blend. Okay, so now I'm getting down into this area here. I think I'm going to do gray there. And I'm going to put some espresso down the back. I might put some gray down the back too. Yep, definitely going to put some gray down the back. He's too brown. I should invite him in tomorrow and have a good look at him. See if I'm still married by the end. We're wrong. Okay, so you just kind of, and I kind of jump around a little bit and put things in and then see how it looks next to what I did before. I like to have a little bit of darkness underneath these nostrils in this section. Maybe a few warm grays up here too. And maybe just rub with your 00 just to keep things under control. And now it's really important to just put your brush down and back and forth and pick it up and move it to the next spot. And just do a little small shake. And then you can really blend right into the whites. Wipe off your brush. Anytime you want to put more brown in, you would just go back to your light umber if you think that that's what you need. Like for instance, here you think it's a little pale and pasty. I think I like a little bit more of like another color. Use your light umber. Light umber is a great color. It doesn't seem to get out of control very quickly. And then try to make this little section, few little extra lines. And I want to have it right here, make a nice chin. Okay, so I'm just, if you want brown, you use espresso. If you want a grayish look, then you use warm. All right, I'm seeing I wanted to make this chin. Put some dark there and there. And then you can pull this out. Longer strokes here. Keep looking at it. I find if you don't stop and look at what you've got, it's really super easy to get completely carried away. And then you think, oh man, why did I do that? So do some, maybe move over here, do a little bit more, come back. Barely touching, just a little tiny shake like that. And then take your moon scrubber and soften what you did. Okay, so you want your darks, like you want to have some spots of like nice dark without getting carried away, like I said. And then put some coming down the back. And down here needs to be darkened. Okay, and you come around here and you darken in there too. And if you, what's kind of nice, especially on this arm here, you can see that there's some little darks as if the fur is pulled away just a bit. So I got a little one here maybe. And see like under here, I want a little darker. Do some rub-a-dub, do some more. What time do we have? Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. I want to show you how I did the snow. Some of you might probably already know how to do it. And there's a couple of ways you could do it. Um, If you just want to mix up the glamour dust with some varnish and paint it wherever you want, you could do it that way. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is this is fine to have this to be a closed shape, but I don't want this to be a closed shape. So what I'm trying to do now is just move that. And it's so hard to keep track of all these ruffles. If you have to, go back to your white, go for it. If you get to that point where you just can't put a line down, don't forget this little tool that we have recently discovered where you could scrape away some of the wax and maybe put the white down again. Okay, well, I'm just basically fussing around now, and that's what you can do until you tweak it, especially if you happen to know a squirrel that you're trying to do his portrait. Kind of keep playing and playing and playing. So if you are doing your squares, you would, sand seal, paint, varnish your edges. And I would take this upstairs and spray it just to give a bit of a safety net. And then what I like to do is then I would glue him on. And you can use that line coat glue or gel medium or something on that. And then I put a soft touch varnish. And that is no shine at all on there. And I do two coats. I put one on and then I put another one on and then I sprinkle some of this glamour dust, just gently sprinkle. And that's all that little glitter that you see. And then for the actual snow chunks, you can do that two different ways. I have these little graters that I got. And you can get some, I think I got this one at like a kitchen store, a little baby grater. And you can try to, like I have used it, it works great. Okay, make your little chunks. I think I actually like this one better than this round one. And this little guy had quite a bit of snow just on his nose. Oh, jeez, I just sprayed it all over the place. Okay. And of course, it doesn't ever seem to go exactly where you want it. So I just kind of have a brush here. It's a very soft brush. And I just push it in the spots. You could also use an X-Acto knife and do the same sort of thing. And that might be a little bit better in that you can see what you're doing and what you're trying to actually get them on. Like I say, it wasn't snowing. I just wanted the snow on him. And I try not to get it on his eyes because I like to have his eyes showing. And then I'll carefully bring that outside and I'll spray it and try not to move those bits. It works. It's just fun, actually. So you see, maybe you don't want to have them down here. Maybe you want them actually on the nose, which I think is a good idea. There, that's a little bit. Oh, and of course, whiskers. Well, too late. So I did find a Pablo Caran d'Ache in black. And that worked really well. Works. There you go. See, it works out really, really well too. And a plain black would work. Your Prismacolor black would work too. It's just things that you might want to pick up as you're filling up your cart. Go along with that new pencil sharpener that you're going to get for Valentine's Day.
Norma would like to know, what spray would you use?
I use the Krylon brand. I know Golden has it, but I can get the Krylon here, so that's the one I use. And I have a workable fixative, and you could use a workable fixative if you only want to buy one can. You don't actually have to have a final varnish, but I also have a final varnish. And just read the label on the can and just make sure it's for, colored pencil or pencil products or something. All right, I think that's it, right? I think so. I think we're done.
There you go.
Goodness, my goodness.
He's so
yes.
fluffy.
Yes, he has to be fluffy. And you'll have with nice fine lines on his outer edge. So super sharp. The Verithin would work too, but I guess the Verithin is really doesn't have much pigment at all anymore. And I think they're getting harder to find. So we have a date for this one, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes, because you've made all the nice banners already.
Yes. That one's the 7th of February.
Oh, good. You know the answer to
Yep,
that.
the week before Valentine's Day.
Yes. You can all wear pink shirts.
Oh, there you go. Or red.
Or red.
And then your other dude is going to be, the jelly beans is going to be April 11th, which is a week and a few days before Easter.
So that'll be good.
Yay, yay.
Now, should I show you how much I got done on the fundraiser that we've decided on?
Oh, yeah, we haven't announced it, but if you want to announce it, you go for it.
Well, I just was working away at it, and I think it's one of those things it's pretty important, I think.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Now that we know what we're doing.
Yeah, because it's pretty bad out there. And so I thought, Kevin, that's my Kevin. And then this is just a pug. We're calling it Jelly Bean because I know somebody who has a pug that's named Jelly Bean. Oh no, I think his name is Jilly Bean. One or the other. I'll figure it out before I get there. And that's our fundraiser, and it's going to go to the Pasadena Humane Society. I think they're the ones that were right smack in the middle with the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, I think too. And I know that there's a lot of other humane societies that are helping them, and they're pulling different animals out and putting them all over the place. But I think the Pasadena one is the one that's on the front lines, I guess.
Yep, so that's gonna be, we haven't set a date yet. But
didn't we set one?
Did we?
We might. I mean, we're gonna give everybody a chance to regroup and everything. I'm sure they're gonna need money for a while. I think they need money now, and they need money like later as well, right?
It'll be a while before the owners of these animals are able to take them back home.
Yeah,
still alive. But yeah, so that's going to be this year's fundraiser.
Yeah, we have a date, but I can't remember what it is.
It's colored pencil.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to try to do is put them in a basket or one of those plush beds. So I've got some pastel on there already. Then we're going to get these guys done. And then maybe with more pastel, we'll come in and we'll make a bed. I mean, you could do it all in pencil too, of course, but I don't have the patience for that. And I think the pastel works really well. So that's the plan. That's the plan.
So stay tuned for when we figure out when the date is. Because I'm looking at my schedule, my calendar, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not seeing it."
No, I'm not seeing it either.
I would think that we would do it sooner than later.
There we go, March 29th.
March 29th. You
That's
found
what we picked, unless everybody wants to do it like tomorrow, but I don't think so. Because we've got the convention the last week of February.
Oh, I do have it on the written calendar. Yay, me. Yes, we want to do it before too much time passes because
Yeah,
they use all
yeah.
the help they can get. But and thank you last year for everyone who helped us raise money for Happily Ever Esther.
Esther. Yeah, Esther
Uh,
something.
Even though Esther was no longer with us, they are taking in as many animals as they can. They went to a bigger location so they can house more animals and give them more area
Yeah.
to exist in and not be cooped up. So I think, what did we raise? Like 4,000? Was it 4,000?
I don't
Was
know.
it
I think we did pretty
2,000?
good.
We did pretty
Lots of
good. So
animal lovers. So
yeah.
yeah,
And
but this is a disaster.
this is a disaster, which is a whole nother thing altogether.
Yeah.
So this is why we're not waiting until summer to do it like we did with the other one.
Yeah.
We're
Kind of
doing
get
it
it done.
sooner. So we hope you will join us, and there may be a raffle or two involved. Uh, but otherwise than that, we also have the live convention, online live convention that Lydia is our mascot artist, our convention artist who did the mascot Madigan.
Madigan. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Fox, and she has several classes during that week. And she's also going to be one of the guest artists for the first personal in-person Artful Webinars
Oh,
in-person gathering.
yes.
So
So
that's
many
gonna,
things. So
yeah,
many things.
so that's going to be in May. So if you're interested in any of these things, just go to artfulwebinars.com and you'll find out convention or a fair, and then all the regular classes, and then go to lydiasteeves.com, get your pattern packets.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, she's glad to answer them. She'll check the statements after the threads after to see if you had any questions for you. She'll answer you. You have some free stuff over there too, right?
On my website?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, lots of like if you're just beginning color pencil, there's a couple of color pencil beginning your journeys. There's things on pastels, pan pastels, backgrounds, how to do bubbles in 3 different mediums, tons of stuff.
Right. And so Dana's asking about the pattern packets for the other two coming up, the
Oh,
Valentines and the beans.
yeah, they're coming. I couldn't decide what to do today, make the packet for Be Mine or work on the fundraiser. So I did, a little bit of both. So it
I can only whip her so much.
just sitting here in my basement, playing with that bad baby and picking up my
Bad
pencils all the
baby.
time. Yeah,
Oh,
she's rotten
geez.
to the core.
She is not. She's a cutie patootie. I see you shut her out tonight, though, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us on this lovely Friday night. Stay warm, stay healthy, enjoy your time creating art with Lydia and other artists. And hopefully, we'll see you next month on the 11th, Friday, the 11th. So take care, everyone. Thank you, Lydia.
Okay. Bye everyone. Thanks for coming.